as the merchants of obscenity. And available to them the modern facilities for disseminating this filth. Disseminating this filth. The onslaught of the communist masters of deceit.
Pinko, Commie, Slutz. Pinko, Commie, Slutz. Pinko, Commie, Slutz. Pinko, Commie, Slutz.
Hello.
Hello.
I was boredly reading about the history of the Opie and Anthony show.
Oh, why were you doing that?
I don't know, because you always hear about Anthony, but you never hear about Opie. So I was like,
the Opie truthers are the biggest Anthony critics.
yeah.
Split?
Well, because Anthony is a racist woman beater, and Opie is not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's mainly the difference between the two. Do you know the story of how they met, Bunny? Is that like a thing every comedian has to learn?
No, they're popular with a very
I
relatively
listened to them
specific.
back in like 06, like when they always had like Louis on and shit. You know, I listened to the Louis episodes, at least the segments. Didn't really listen to the whole fucking show ever.
The only experience I have with them is seeing Stephen Lynch segments where he'd go on and play a song.
Yeah, well, okay, so that ties into how Opie and Anthony met. Apparently, Opie hosted a small-time nighttime radio show in Long Island, and while waiting for the OJ verdict, he had a parody song about OJ contest at a Long Island bar, and Anthony showed up to sing "They're Going to Electric Shock OJ" to the tune of "Sitting on the Dock by the Bay."
Okay.
And that's how they met. Yeah, it's very trashy 90s Long Island.
Yeah, and that's like pretty much the whole thing. But then, exactly, they had certain comedians on a lot.
Yeah, like early 2000, early to like mid 2000s is kind of their like golden age of like all these East Coast comics on their show all the time.
East Coast comics.
East Coast comics.
Who knows one of those?
I know all of them.
All of them. You're the arbiter of who is and who's not.
I'm the singularity. I'm the linchpin. Somehow.
My mom asked
I can't explain
if you know certain people who she knows who are in comedy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I am going to send them my little skits.
Yeah.
So I've got great news, though. The Nanny is on HBO Max.
Oh, yeah. The people are saying that.
I've been tweeting about it for a while.
I hear you're showing your younger boyfriend, which, by the way, comes across as a humble brag.
Yeah,
I'm dating a much younger man who's...
I don't know if I'd say much younger.
I'm dating...
This is no
enough.
Matt Gaetz. Let's be clear here.
Yeah.
This is not a Woody Allen...
Well, why would you even bring that up?
Because that's also on
Who was married to the old French president.
It's not a Macron situation either.
Yeah, back
It's
off.
no Khadijah Muhammad. What? She was older than him. I didn't say anything offensive. It was his first wife. God, learn early Islamic history for once in your lives. Yeah, listen to some Mufti Menk on YouTube.
All right, so you're showing...
I got vaccinated.
Oh, yeah, same here. I'm second shot, baby.
I'm one and done. Johnson & Johnson,
nice.
baby. And don't anybody worry about them botched doses. I got the stuff straight from the Netherlands. I got the fancy European stuff.
I attempted to get a shot. I tried to use my connections, my deep state connections with the pharmaceutical industry to be like, hey, call me when you have an extra shot, as you suggested. So I took your suggestion, and they called me, and they're like, yo, you want to get a shot? And I'm like, yeah, I'll be over in an hour. Then I get there, and there's like a line out the door of people waiting to get shot, and all the pharmacists panicking and running in circles.
Fair enough.
And then telling me they don't have enough shots because there was a Kafka-esque mix-up with numbers.
Well, keep at it.
But I gotta say, this vaccine is just killing me. It is destroying business. It is demonstrably making my financial life much more difficult.
Oh, because people aren't utilizing a delivery service.
Yes. I have gone from doing 50 deliveries a day last summer to doing 30 deliveries a day this winter to now doing 10 to 15 deliveries.
Yeah, man.
Went from being afraid to go to the pharmacy to suck and fuck fests.
Yeah,
and people are trying to go back. And the thing is about doing work like that, frankly, that is the majority of it. You have a few days that you might have a bunch of deliveries, at least the app-based ones that I was involved in. Yep. But it was like this thing where they always knew how to hook you when they were like onboarding in a new area. So you make good money somehow at first. And then, then you'd be like struggling to get 10 deliveries a day. And you're making like $2 on it.
Yep, pretty much. So what I'm saying is I'm anti-vax. There's barely to little any benefits for me for people to get vaccines. So I'm like, no, don't get it. Just order deliveries. My life will not change if I have a vaccine or not. If anything, it's going to get worse if I have a vaccine. And so I'm saying, don't do it. I'm taking a firm stance. I financially benefit from people scared to leave their houses. So I'm saying vaccines don't work. Stay in your homes. Order deliveries online. Let me leave your deliveries outside your apartment door and have you like bring a net outside the window to hand me like a plastic bag full of nickels.
You know, it's hard because there are some people who are like, if you're able-bodied, you shouldn't be like making these people on the delivery apps have to get you your groceries and stuff. So there's like a shaming around.
Yes,
you know,
which I am here to protest.
Dispelling some myths.
Yeah, that's exactly.
It's like you're doing for delivery stuff what Amazon's trying to do for themselves on Twitter.
Yeah, just astroturfing like their own financial interests. That's what I'm doing on this podcast. I am the Amazon Twitter bots of Pinko, Commie, Slutz.
Yeah.
I forget what Jeff Bezos sounds like until I hear him talk randomly because I'm not seeking it out. But he's like, yeah, guys.
I think it's also, if we look at what happened in the internet, it was such an incredible last, half a dozen years that it's hard to even get the right analogy for it. And a lot of how we decide how we're supposed to react to things and what we're supposed to expect about the future depends on how we bucket things and how we categorize them. And so I think the tempting analogy for the boom bust that we just went through with the internet is a gold rush.
That is a thing.
I feel like that's part of it. He's got like a laid-back West Coast vibe.
I don't know that that's true. I think he sounds more like Bill Gates, like just kind of like nerdy matter-of-fact man.
I think it's like a nerdy matter-of-fact man who was like, I also like granola and surfing.
Maybe. Never got that vibe from him.
That's why he shaved his head, so he'd be more aerodynamic.
Okay.
He looks like a penis.
He sure does.
Gaetz-gate. That's the big topic. I'm so excited to talk about this.
What all the kids are talking about now.
Will he or won't they arrest him?
No, this actually, I read like a quarter of the Daily Beast article, so I'm feeling like way more prepared than normal.
Oh, hell yeah. Marlo read 2 paragraphs.
Goddamn right. Yeah,
He's a goddamn researcher.
I gotta say, Gates' friend sold him up the river like a fucking stoolie.
Greenberg?
I mean, I don't know what the other sources are saying, but like apparently he went to a government office to like get fake IDs or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Well, I thought it was the guy's like an accountant thing, right? He runs an tax accounting firm who was running an ID.
I thought he was like actually a tax official, like he was a government official. I don't think he was like just some accountant. Yeah, he was an official in Florida who was essentially printing real government IDs at the office that prints IDs. And he like would consistently. Like, there was one time he forgot to reset the alarm when he went there late at night. So the guys were like, "Oh, did you visit the office last night?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, me and Congressman Gaetz showed up. I wanted to show him our office."
Yeah, it was in Lake Mary, Florida, a branch of the tax collection agency. He just ratted on. Well, he told on him.
Like, he didn't even rat so much as he's the dumbest man in the world. I kind of feel bad. And
then Matt Gaetz wanted one for himself.
Right. Anyway, this all somehow leads to child porn. I didn't get to that part. Or no, child sex trafficking. Sorry. I did not get to that part yet. So, exciting article.
Well, I mean, that's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, that is the...
How does it get there?
Yeah, well, it all started from the dumbest shit in the world, so that much we know.
From my understanding was that he was bringing specifically a 17-year-old girl, which he called a woman on Tucker Carlson, which was weird, across state lines. I'm not sure which state lines, to go into a hotel to have sex with him.
Yeah, that's what they got Jack Johnson on. No, actually, that's not true. Jack Johnson, the woman, was of age, but like, she was white, and it was, those times.
And so Matt Gaetz was dating this girl, bringing her across state lines, putting her up in hotels, giving her money via like Venmo or whatever. Cash App. And having sex with her, and then for some reason got into illegal ID. And it's all connected with the other guy, the tax collection guy, who also
not
got
going to
caught.
see a day of prison in his life because he's giving them Congressman Gaetz on sex trafficking.
So they were investigating that guy first.
Right.
And that's how they stumbled into Matt Gaetz is in partnership or working with that guy. Yeah, it's all really sleazy. And him going on Tucker Carlson was just like a beautiful...
Yeah, I did not see that, but I heard it was good.
It's good. Did you see it, Bunny?
What, him on
Yeah,
Tucker Carlson?
it was amazing.
No,
it was beautiful because Matt Gaetz was like, this never happened. The people that are saying this happened, they're blackmailing me. And he named, I think, the prosecutor in Florida or district attorney in Florida. And he's like, this guy is saying, give us $25 million or we'll break this story, which is false, according to Matt Gaetz. Mm-hmm. And we'll destroy your life with this story. And then according to him, wore a wire and was cooperating with
for
FBI.
the FBI. Right.
Yeah. He was like, Tucker, you know what it's like to have people falsely accuse you of sexual impropriety when it was not true. And he's like, and Tucker is like, yeah, that happened 20 years ago with a mentally ill woman who I never met and was never in the same state. And then he's like, yeah, Tucker, you remember the girl I was at dinner with you? Like,
oh my God, that's great.
6 months ago. And Tucker was like, I don't know who you're referring to. I don't know what dinner you're talking about. Why do you keep bringing me into your shit? It was fantastic. It was the best content on Tucker Carlson because the guy was trying to rope him in and be like, see it from my side, Tucker. You know how I feel. You've been here, man.
That's so funny.
You've been falsely accused. You met this woman, this clearly of age woman who's also being bribed and harassed for something that I did not do.
Complicit in this.
Yeah, Tucker, you're the reason I was dating a woman of age.
You knew, dude. You didn't tell anybody.
You met her over that steak dinner that we had. We had steak and broccoli. You remember that dinner. We were at Mar-a-Lago.
To go with my theme of comparing everything to Always Sunny, this is like if Charlie Kelly badly tried to set up someone up.
Yeah.
Or no, this is like the Alderman episode, except dumber, where they're running for politics politics, and they're trying to get the guy like attracted to D to blackmail him.
Yeah. Except, did someone send this 17-year-old girl?
No, I'm saying.
I'm wondering, was he crossing state lines in order to like benefit from age of consent laws?
Oh, that's the other thing. That's the other defense.
In his imagination.
Well, that's the other defense he had, was he very specifically said, I never traveled with this woman. I never traveled with her. I am just a generous boyfriend who gives women that I care about lots of money to come places. So it seems like he never traveled with her to...
He seems to know a lot about the specific technicalities.
Yeah.
Of, yes, we met there, but we did not travel there
In
together.
his defense,
Okay.
In
Who
his
gives a
defense,
fuck?
everyone from Florida knows these laws like the back of their pants.
Florida age of consent law.
Right, but they know like all 50 states. It's part of the standard.
It's part of the sunshine effect. Just shines lights on alligators and misdeeds. There was also the story about the sex games that he's doing. He's like doing frat bro.
Oh, yeah, like he's like showing people he works with nudes. I heard he was doing that.
Like, if you had like the bad luck that you like hooked up with Matt Gaetz one time, he might have showed someone your boobs.
No, I heard that they would have a point system.
Like, there's an official grading ranking.
Amongst
like,
other
thing.
congressmen, too, who would also have sex with...
Oh, my God. Burn them.
Who would also have sex with
alive.
different, like, conservative interns and talking heads, and they would refer to them as Harry Potter things, and one was known as the Snitch, which...
Okay.
Just...
Because she opens at the touch.
I don't think that's...
She's hard to get.
Oh.
She's hard... you win the game. You win the game automatically if you have sex with her. And she's elusive.
I don't want to say that's necessarily clever, but there's a logic to it.
You compare everything to Always Sunny. I'm going with the Veep comparison. It definitely gives me Jonah Ryan vibes.
Yeah, no, that's the obvious one. Yeah.
Very hard Jonah Ryan. Like, we're going to create this game where we just get pussy from everyone in the office. And it's like, why are you trying to put me down, man? I'm just living the best life, the John H. Ryan life.
I don't know, man. I admit I didn't pay that much attention. I just trusted that he done it bad.
It's definitely a story. I will say that.
Now, the thing is, given what we told you, do you think that he will either resign or be arrested? Because they're very heavily implying that the woman that he brought across state lines has been in court ratting him out.
Yeah, I could see him arrested. I mean, it seems like they were running a sting on a high-profile case that they knew would get a lot of buzz, and seems to all be coming together for him.
Yeah, I think maybe he'll be arrested. Maybe he'll try to resign first to avoid some sort of consequence. I don't know. I just know he has a very similar name to somebody I don't like, so I just never pay attention to that case. It's a true thing about me. Also, he's got a real face, like a real melted wax figure kind of thing going on. Like, he was supposed to be like a wax figure of a politician, but it got wonky. It was one of the bad ones. They had to auction it off. It's haunted. Also, just like, what's this girl's story, man? What is your life like if you're getting moved around? I
mean, I heard like sleazy sugar daddy sites were involved. I don't know.
Oh, this is a sugar mama situation. A sugar daddy.
I believe she would be the sugar baby.
She'd be the sugar baby, indeed. But I don't know, man. I just like, what is the point, guys?
It's a
leaves me no choice but to think we're up to no good, sir.
And meanwhile, he's like, he's trying to like just be like, come on, Tucker, you were involved too. You got to help me.
Yeah. You two knew of it. You acted like it was totally
He's
cool.
gonna stick like
No
a
big deal.
narcoleptic stripper in Tucker's birthday cake.
It does give that kind of fail son.
Yeah,
and he is
incredibly stupid about all this.
Well, he's a politician that basically the family seems to own the panhandle. His father's a congressperson, and then he's a congressperson. A real Cuomo sexual situation going on, where the people there love him because he is somebody who fights for the horrible politics that they believe in, which seems to be like make as much money as possible, punish all poor people, and advocate for Trump, and like some weird libertarian nationalism. It is interesting that the chickens seem to be coming home to roost after Trump gets out, and they just don't know what to do with themselves. That might be a thread you can see through this.
Yeah, they were like, Trump had us throw out the playbook, and now you don't know what to do.
Daddy Trump left us. Now
he's not there to like.
But the
shift
thing
tides.
is that it's also his Justice Department that started this investigation.
Yeah, it's not like Trump was exactly like Papa Joe Kennedy. Like, Trump was never really one to bury stories. He just kind of weathered them, and he certainly wouldn't bury them for like his allies or friends or people who aren't him.
Yeah, but he might be like, oh, they're picking on.
Yeah, no, he could. I mean, yeah, I kind of wish Trump was posting right now. That'd be cool. Like, I'm really interested to know what Trump would be posting right now.
Something incriminating about him,
it would be
17-year-olds.
absolutely. It would just straight up say, look, Matt Gaetz, he might have sex with underage women, but one thing Matt Gaetz never has done is have sex with an underage woman.
He might say, I knew Jeffrey Epstein. Matt Gaetz know Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, yeah.
Jeff never got caught until later.
He died a soldier. Speaking of which, didn't what's her name get another charge or something? Like, there's been a lot of trafficking.
Ghislaine got like officially charged with trafficking.
It's like 4 trafficking stories breaking. Like,
almost like something.
Yeah, almost like we need to talk about the last couple episodes of the QAnon.
God damn.
Yeah, go ahead with that.
Diogenes showed his pissing face.
So as we were recording last week, the episodes were airing. So I think we saw that Steve Bannon was trending because for a chunk of those episodes, they're like, it's Steve Bannon. And there was like this really compelling part where they were like, the thing that was posted was like only exactly this amount from his house and whatever. But then it becomes like, oh no, somebody really wants us to think it's Steve Bannon, which I agree with because Steve Bannon's more of a straightforward nefarioso in this regard. I think it's the fucking 8chan creepo and his weird ass son, and they think they're so fucking
They became
clever.
exponentially more unlikable in the last episode. We were just sitting there going, this is so gross. These people are so hateable.
I mean, based on what I know about them, like, yeah, they sound terrible. I haven't seen the doc, but...
Well, it's like he goes to testify about fucking 8chan, and he's like, I'm wearing pizza socks, and like, what? Like,
he's got
all
a
these,
Q.
like, a Q. He think he cute. This motherfucker thinks he's cute, and it made me hate him so much. And he takes great pains to describe himself as somebody who's totally on the outs with politics and like doesn't know anything or whatever. But yes, he does at a certain point, I think when he's in those pizza socks, talk about Diogenes and act like he's some sort of emulation of Diogenes. Like, that's how he is.
Edgelord Central.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, you never plucked a chicken, man, and brought it into the academy. it bummed me out because I did just recently do Diogenes on Philosophy Drip, and he's just a wonderful philosopher to learn a little about. He was a super cool edgelord in a way, but he also fucking didn't own anything to a ridiculous degree, and he probably
Diogenes smelled like shit.
Put it in perspective. But yeah, it was a bummer. It's, oh God, this is like, guys, I'm having an existential crisis because this just always happens to me, is that like things that I like, then I discover these kind of people also think these things are cool.
The funny thing with you though is you're kind of like one of those comic book nerds who like has a chip on their shoulder because, you know, when they were in like junior high, they read comic books and no girl wanted to fuck them, and now all these girls like Marvel movies and they're angry about that. Except for you, instead of comic books, it's Greek civilization.
Which is like the original fucking extended Marvel
Oh God,
universe.
don't do that. That's the like liberal thing that they're all doing, where it's like, oh, actually, it's the myth of our age.
See, I think the Catholic Church is the original Marvel extended universe.
I think that the Jewish legend of the Golem is the original superhero.
Okay.
You know who wrote Superman? Jews. Comic books are a Jewish art form from the Golem onwards.
So, Bunny, you hated that for some reason people who idealize Greek mythologies somehow become edgelords and white nationalists for some reason.
No, it's more than that. Like, it's even broader than that. Okay, so it's like, I'm like, okay, well, obviously I wanted to learn more about ancient Greek history and Greek mythology because I am Greek, but also because I'm like a weird little half Greek. So I was like, let me like try to be more Greek, but I'm not right in the head. So I just hyper focused on these interests.
Like their pens. You're hyper focused on them like their pens.
So I can accept that these are just, okay, I had whatever. But what really bugs me is that like all kinds of other things are also liked by different kinds of shitty people. Like, this won't come out in time, but I'm doing a Zoom show on Thursday that's called Comedy for People Who Hate Joe Rogan. But I feel like I'm going to have to do part of the act about how, like, I listened to Joe Rogan for a very long time. And like I had to get to a point where I was like, oh, okay, buddy, I'm fed up with this. You know, like, yeah, he's a dummy, but like I sometimes wanted to hear him talk about this dumb shit or hear him ask questions of somebody smarter than him, etc. I've done ayahuasca, all these things. I did keto before people were.
You believe
keto,
most of your life's
like
problems could be solved through DMT usage.
That's the thing. I don't think any of that. So it's like this annoying thing that I'm like, God damn it. These things that
have I told you about my life of MMA
cool.
and microdosing? I call it the MMAM.
Well, yeah. I remember when Tim Ferriss' 4-Hour Work Week came out, and it wasn't a huge hit right away, but I randomly found it somewhere and read this fucking book and was like, oh, neat. What an interesting way to think about like hacking things or whatever. And I still find that mindset like very appealing. I now see it as like just another dimension of my supreme dorkiness. But what astounds me is that like so many of these like little things that I was just like weirdly into have just ended up in the hands of all the people I would fight with. White nationalists, meatheads, transphobes, you know? It bums me out. But also, I want to hear about deer antler gel that is a performance-enhancing drug.
So yeah, these 8chaners, those people are not good. I kind of got an affection for the disabled guy, Frederick. He had a redemption arc where he was like, this is my past life. I'm still here in the Philippines with my suspiciously slavish wife. But, you know, those 8chaners, they're doing bad things. Let me tell you, I will tell everyone and wage fucking war on these people. And the more I found out about those people, I was like, all right, Frederick, I see you. You're less bad than them.
Did you feel a kinship
To Frederick?
to Frederick as a person who had worked somewhere that people would later ask you, do you regret working there? Did you?
No,
did you
because
you know?
I think
Literally
that
founded the damn thing.
he did believe.
I know.
He did believe
I
a
am
good.
literally
I
joking.
did.
As far as his journey goes, it's, somewhat sympathetic.
I do sympathize with him having a pet on his lap at all times,
His
no matter
wheelchair dog
what
ruled.
interview he's in. He's like, you're going to put me on TV without my poofy? I'm not doing this interview. I respect that. Other than that, he definitely believed a lot of the bullshit when he was doing it, which I cannot
Again,
condone.
I understand he was extremely young.
pretty
He was
young, though,
extremely
correct?
disabled
Like,
and
he's
had a
super
kind
young.
of nihilistic view of the world due to that. Like, I get it. Like,
Yeah, I mean, look, we are
Yeah,
forgiving him
absolutely.
because he's disabled.
If you are that disabled, you get one.
I'm fine with knowing that about myself.
There's
admitting
a
it
level
here on
of
this
disabled
podcast.
that you get one, and he's at that level.
Yeah, also, I want to be clear, no one on this podcast is employed in any capacity to dispatch any sort of justice. So we're just talking shit here. So what would it matter if we forgive him just because he's
I think the
disabled?
real authority here are the people that are going to cancel us when one of us gets famous and then they start digging in our past.
this is
Yeah,
gonna
look.
be bad. Not as
Look,
bad as
I've got
Bunny's
the website
consistent use
saved.
of racist Chinese accent.
Oh, no. Now I'm worried there's a very specific
I
scenario.
remember a very
That I'm-
specific.
I'm
I remember a very
forgetting about.
specific scenario in the first episode when I read the press release from, I think, the Chinese government, and I almost did a racist Asian voice. And then you guys all commented, you almost did a racist Asian voice that was dangerously close. And I'm like, I know, I got my eye on the future.
Yeah.
Look, every good white podcast host eventually apologizes for almost doing racist Asian voices. at
Especially
some
in
point.
these
You
days.
either get canceled.
But the point is, you did not
No, I know
actually
better.
do that. And what we did demonstrate is our annoying
Yeah.
self-policing.
Self-crit. We're just Maoists, which,
Yeah, we can't self-police because then we'd have to fucking
yeah.
ACAB ourselves. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Something happened at the Capitol today, right?
Yeah.
I don't know shit about
but
Yeah, it's very...
it was Nation of Islam
But also,
guy.
Are they saying?
I'm seeing it like there was somebody who's Nation of Islam who was trying to do something, and also the suspect was whatever.
Oh,
But
okay.
I'm not seeing them together, but I was getting the vaccine.
Yeah, I'm not
today,
one
so I
to
wasn't,
just assume and denigrate the honorable Louis Farrakhan.
Louis Farrakhan,
So-
yeah. Of the communist leaders that we worship here on Pinko Commie Slutz, Louis Farrakhan's up there
Yeah.
with Jim Jones, also communist leader that we worship here.
Yeah.
Pol
We like
Pot.
him nice and
We
like
we
him
like
murdered.
We
him
like them all secret U.S. assets.
like
'cause that's
Saddam
what
Hussein.
this is. Spoiler alert: we're a secret U.S. asset. If we were, what community would we be
The
infiltrating?
community of like,
I would say the comedian.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Comedian.
pro-
We're definitely sowing propaganda in the comedian community, also in the DIY Brooklyn scene, and the DSA. Marlo's doing good work infiltrating the DSA, teaching them about Mark Fisher,
like-
and then, letting them know how communism will never come to pass in America.
I do think it's possible that a very incompetent agent from one of the federal agencies could accidentally get fixated on us.
that'd be funny.
I do see it as a possibility. And it'd be
No, I
very
mean, I
funny.
already know who's been listening to my phone calls. It's very clearly Jeff, who's listening in from the CIA to make sure, and also the Chinese Communist Party are also listening in. And, whenever I'm on a phone call, I start talking to them when I'm talking about communist stuff because I'm like, you guys are listening. We all know what's going on here. Xi Jinping.
Personally, Xi Jinping, who is listening to this.
He's sitting in a bunker in Beijing.
He's laughing.
And when I hear that, because you can tell there's a little buzzing, that I'm like, Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
Winnie the Pooh.
You're like, Dad's here to sit.
But I think I might die via being tap danced on my face by a Falun Gong Shen Yun dancer.
Yeah.
That's in the Karl Marx wave. I think that would be a poetic way for me to go out. And I'd suicide vest.
Okay.
Mid Shen Yun performance. You took my career and livelihood. Down with the Falun Gong. So we all support Louis Farrakhan. We all marched in the March for Women all 3 years, and then we won for Louis Farrakhan. Wasn't that a controversy?
No, the Million Man's March, which did not allow
I was just
I think what is going on in your head.
Is that what's happening? The Million Man March?
No. I'm talking
the
about
women's
the
march.
women's march.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
And
that
one
sounds
of
like
the-
an eternity ago when that was a thing.
I know, right?
2000
It might as well
back
have been the 90s.
in 2017, there were a couple of women who wanted to march against Trump and wanted to wear pink pussy hats. And one of them had some fine things to say about Reverend
There
Farrakhan.
was one cool person.
Then there was a split.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one cool person. And God damn it, now I forget her goddamn name. But she rules. The Palestinian woman. She rules, and she was right, and she's never done or said anything wrong, and America should be under Sharia law.
It's true. We would all be better for it if we actually had either Palestinians or Iran leading this country. Or frankly, China. Let's be honest. They're the ones that are coming.
I don't know, man.
And we're here setting down the conditions for their arrival.
I feel like we don't realize how much we benefit from the incompetence of the people in the government. They're so good at surveillance in China. I'm just I feel like the guy now who's hacked into my webcams is too lazy to do anything against me,
Yeah, whereas when Xi Jinping gets behind,
he's going to make
this.
a OnlyFans of embarrassing fails that they've caught on the webcam they've hacked.
All the people in the Falun Gong that I knew all had tape over their cameras.
Yeah, I mean
their
China's
computer cameras.
In their defense, the Falun Gong was also hacking into their system, so,
Well, yeah.
It's all justified. And the Chinese Communist Party is definitely right to try to hack into the Falun Gong because they're evil fascists.
Uphold Jiang Zemin thought, baby.
Yeah. What else is going on? There's infrastructure bill. That's the exciting content that we have in the Biden administration.
It is a good bill, I'll just say.
A good bill?
Yeah, sure. If it actually passes and the PRO Act's attached, I don't know what it's going to look like after they're done with it.
I heard that they already axed the PRO Acts.
Did they?
The progressives wanted $11 billion or $11 trillion, and now it's down to $2 trillion.
Okay.
And if I were in Congress, I would have simply asked for $11 billion. And then we would have settled for
the trillion's larger than
a billion.
A trillion's larger than a billion. But
I know. I'm just saying the arbitrary way they do this. 11T is also not a number.
Yeah, I know. But if it was, it would still be smaller than a trillion. I'm just saying.
Unless it's one of those things when you say 1100.
Way to self-police, Marlo.
1,001.
Way to police the podcast.
Yeah,
Marlo.
well, you know what? I can't flex my male privilege to mansplain numbers to you. Then what use am I?
Mansplain.
You did read 2 paragraphs of the Matt Gaetz article. So.
A fucking dedicated researcher I am.
Oh, I guess I was Joker-fied.
Oh yeah, tell us about
it was very
weekly Jokerification.
Yeah, it was very niche, very on-brand Jokerification for me. I did come across a tweet by one of my favorite tweeters. I don't know, Matthias is his name.
Oh, is he Greek?
He is Greek. He is Australian. He is Greek. He also teaches Greek. So sometimes he has some fun language stuff too. But he's got good memes and everything. But he shared a screen cap from like an Instagram thing where girls were trying to cancel a Turkish girl because she had evil eye painted on her nails. And like there was a discussion in this comments that was like, she's Turkish. And then it's like Turkish people are white. And it's like they're in the Arab category. So but it seemed that these were young ladies who were not part of any diaspora cultures who believe in the evil eye or whatever. So they were just like policing their idea and like breaking out a map and being like, Turks are Caucasian. But in that way where they're like, it's actually near the Caucasus Mountains. So
yeah, by definition.
And like that, you know, I've never looked into why that's the name. So obviously that's like where the white people sprung out of the ground originally. But just the idea that someone one day, should I gain any notoriety, see a photo of me with one of my copious amounts of evil eye jewelry and accuse me of appropriating it, I would fucking be so mad, even though it would be not a big deal in, you know, reality. But it would make me very mad. It reminds me of the old Tumblr days.
Meanwhile, Bunny, they're appropriating Aristotle.
Who's appropriating Aristotle?
Well, or Diogenes. Your thing from earlier about...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the fucking 8chan guys, they're absolutely appropriating Diogenes because you got to imagine Diogenes is some fucking greasy Greek dude, you know? Not one of these fucking sweaty, no-chin losers with a...
Diogenes would be arguing with his tenants about whether or not the radiator works.
Say, yes. Don't worry.
I called Dimitri. He'd make it.
I called Dimitri. He fixed. Also, it Jokerified me because here I am feeling defensive of this fucking Turkish person, and not even a week after the 200-year anniversary of the Greek independence. You know, and what I was really trying to get off the ground is everybody calling Turks colonizers.
Yeah, no one's ever going to do that, Bunny. Sorry.
Yeah, because they've got too sweet of a cyber team out there.
So those guys rule. I wouldn't want to call them colonizers. They'd probably, like, hurt me.
They invented the deep
state.
Yeah,
war is like wedding for Turk.
They love to an ethnic cleanse. They love it. And they're just doing some of it just recently. Nobody cared. Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Well, that whole conflict with Azerbaijan.
Oh, that was...
They went and destroyed fucking like artifacts because it's a project to try to erase Armenians. Like this is nothing that should be news to anybody, that there's an explicit project of this nature. Yeah. And that Erdogan's very interested in carrying it out. Still.
Here comes Marlo defending the Turks in this one.
I mean, no, I'm more defending the Azerbaijanis for rightly taking back Nagorno-Karabakh.
I work at a moving company. I know some Azerbaijanis. They don't give a fuck about that. That is completely a coordination between Turkey. It's a fucking thing. It's not even a Kosovo. It's not even like that level of, oh, we have this place, you have this place. It's not even like that.
Wait, but speaking of which, isn't there about to be another war over Crimea?
Oh, yeah,
what's in the water?
I heard that.
Well, Crimea is closer to Ukraine.
Well, it was previously the Soviet Union, and then it became part of Ukraine, and then Russia invaded it, and now it's occupied territory, but not recognized by the rest of the world as Russian, but like Russians have their military there.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And
Crimea
then
wants to take it back.
Well, Ukraine wants to take it back. And they announced that they were going to invade Crimea 2 days ago.
That is happening.
And then Russia started putting tanks at the border of Crimea and Ukraine. And yo, they're about to war for a second time. And I know that it's bad enough that Sleepy Joe had to come out of his coffin and support Zelensky and the Ukrainian government. And I'm sure that they'll start sending more warheads their way, because I think the EU doesn't really support Ukraine, or like financially. I know the US is. That's the one thing I learned about all those fucking long round tables about whether or not Trump tried to do a quid pro quo, was that we are the main financial backers and arms dealer to the Ukraine as a deterrent from Mother Russia. And I assume that we're going to just start trafficking in more weapons for them, which is return to normalcy. We're not going to be like, hey, you help us with this election and we'll give you some more guns, tanks, missiles. My point is, they're about to be a war.
That is.
And we should be prepared to cover it. We got to get ahead of the curve. I haven't seen anybody else covering this. We got to be the number one source.
Yeah, I think literally only Ukrainians care. Well, Ukrainians and Russians who want to be like, this is them forcing us.
Did I ever tell you about that weird job that I interviewed for it was like a Russian mobster? And I went in, I interviewed. His name was Boris. There's so many Borises. I walked through this front office, which has all these desktop computers from like 1997. And there are like 17-year-old malnourished Russian kids behind them. And it's like a packaging plant. And so I go through this, and in the back, beautifully furnished back room that has like marble on it. And this guy, Boris, he was taking his blood pressure at his desk. And he's like, oh, my blood pressure is so bad. My doctor says I need to cut out, and I'm like, yeah, you do your thing. I'm just here for the interview. Where's your accent from? And he's like, I'm from Crimea. And I'm like, oh, from Ukraine. And he's like, no, Russia. And I was like, oh no, I just started an international incident. And he wanted me to create his website for him. And then I returned with a website designer who I can imagine looked like a cop. And the second he saw me with this guy, he started panicking. And he shooed us out without even asking the other guy's name. Because I didn't know how to make a website. I was like, I want to just bring this guy in as a partner. He's like, no, get out of my site. Get out of my site. He was making fake IDs. And like, we kind of researched him. And he had like a house in Sheepshead Bay. He was basically running like a green card thing out of the back room there. And it was just funny because I was like, Crimea, oh, that's Ukraine. And he was very insistent on it being Russian.
Very revealing.
Oh, that brings it full circle with the fake IDs.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Matt Gaetz, Gaetz-gate.
Gaetz-gate. All right, guys.
Sorry, that was a winding story.
Yeah, whatever. All right.
Marlo's done, so we're all done, guys.
We plugging Cappuccino again?
Yes, we're doing the Cappuccino app, Philosophy Drip. There should be some better shareability this week. So I'll push it out on the Twitter and the Facebook group. My band Undercover Rabbis just released a music video for a cover of a Godspeed You Black Emperor song called Bosses Hang. Nice.
So that's a very apropos of our podcast. Bosses Hang.
Mm-hmm. That's right, guys. Woo.
Bosses Hang.
I do feel like I got some powers from the shot. I'm monitoring that.
You got some magic?
Mm-hmm. I think
magic powers.
I think if anybody is gonna get good magic powers from the shot, it's gonna be me. Because I just want it so bad. So yeah, I'll keep everyone posted on that in that regard. Bye.
Bye.